We are recording and
check it out. Do you want to do a tongue twister with me, like a theater warm up?
Let's do it.
I'll give you one of my favorite theater warm ups from when I was in school. Repeat after me. This is going to be about the T's and the WH's. The T's and the WH's. Ready?
Okay. Ready.
What to do to die today?
What to do to die for? James Bond. Give me a 3, 2, 1. Hey guys.
Welcome to the Cord and Tory podcast show, episode.
Oh,
yeah,
71.
71.
I'm double checking.
He's double checking right now, ladies and gentlemen, because we like to be as prepared as we can for these shows.
I had one job.
71. Live.
Episode
Going live.
71.
71. Oh, man. Cord, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Do you know how many times we've spoken about the subject of Batman on this episode over the several years we've been doing this podcast?
Yes. The answer is not enough. You can never have enough Batman talk, in my opinion. There's so much to learn about this character. There's so much we haven't seen, heard of, or read about this character. And there's so much more information coming out. There's never going to be enough, Cord.
Yeah,
and I'm delighted each and every time we have the opportunity to talk about him.
To no surprise, this episode is about Batman, if you haven't guessed. And now that I think about it, I need a Batman mug. We talk about Batman so much, I don't know how I don't have a mug.
Yes. As a matter of fact, do you remember the George Clooney Batman when we were kids that came out? Yeah. And it had, of course, Chris O'Donnell as Robin, Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl, Jim Carrey as Riddler, and a bunch of other people. McDonald's had these specialty Batman mugs. They were all glass. This is the only time I remember McDonald's having like real like glass mugs. And my mom like took me to McDonald's, and I forgot what type of like meal they came in. I don't think it was a Happy Meal, because I don't think they would give kids glass, but they had them at McDonald's, and they were the best thing in promotion of the Batman movie. And I got all those glasses, and I still have them at my mom's place in mint condition, and I should actually go and get those.
You are not joking. I know. I do. No. I know. I just looked this up, and I'm getting flashbacks because we had these too. Look at this.
And like there you go. Like that's a Batman mug.
Here they are.
Like the Riddler had like a question mark handle.
Yes.
You know, do you remember those? Those were my favorite.
Guess how much they're selling for on eBay.
How much are they selling for?
Well, between $40 and $140.
Nice. I will definitely hold on to those. I think they might go up and again in the future. So those are priceless to me. Very, very priceless.
That is incredible. Thanks for that blast from the past, Tory.
You are welcome. You are welcome to you and all of our wonderful fans.
Before I forget, Tory, I just remember this. I'm sorry for not mentioning it previously. And I don't want to save this for later because I'll forget again. But guess who has a YouTube channel now?
Who has a YouTube channel now?
One of our biggest fan, Krehan.
Number one, Krehan.
Krehan has her own YouTube channel. Let me look it up because that would be helpful.
Shout out to Krehan, one of our day one fans. Thank you so much for sticking around and being a super fan number one for all of the years we've been doing this.
She is so great. The content, let me see her. So it's a lifestyle content it's a lifestyle vlogging channel of like an Asian American millennial girl living in New York City. So like makeup, K-pop, vlogging, life in the city sort of stuff. And let me actually get the channel because that would help.
The handle. Check her out. Check out our girl.
She's as Tori said, she's been our number one fan from day one. We should give her like a day one. Like a day one something.
You know how Facebook has like the top fans? We should create like a top fan like badge or something or little icon for her.
That would be great. Remember MySpace top friends?
Yeah, your top five. Was it top five or
Oh,
top six?
top
I
top
think
top
top was
8.
five.
I think it was no, it was
They
an even
they
number.
expanded it, didn't they? I think it was a top
Yeah.
five originally, and then they expanded it to 6 and then 8, if I recall correctly.
Wow,
Who remembers MySpace? I
yeah,
mean, no one,
raise your
right?
hand. Yeah. You know what's upsetting about MySpace is we had a bunch of photos on MySpace, and then when they switched to music exclusively, they deleted all of your content. Like I lost all of these cool photos that are probably super pixelated now. You know, old
Sure.
photos on the internet, how pixelated
Yeah.
they are. So I
They're
am,
like 60 by 80 pixels wide.
yeah.
Aspect ratio.
Okay, so Tory, keep talking while I track down this this YouTube channel.
That is fine. She's not our only super fan though. We have several others. Cash McConnell is one of them. No relation to Cord McConnell. We have they have the same mother, but still no relation. Jay Turetsky, one of my buddies from Dodgeball. Jay Turetsky, shout out to all of you. And yeah, those are our top three. We'll go ahead and say those are our top three. Can't forget about Dan Solomon. Dan Solomon's a big one.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Dan. I haven't spoken to you in a while, Dan. I hope that you're doing well. Josh Strock, thank you very much for tuning in previously. I can keep going with our fans, Cord, unless you want to jump in here. But who else do we have? We have Mike Babola. Mike Babola in the house. Special shout out to Mike over there, who just got a new house, right? Not too long ago.
Over a year, but that's
a year?
pretty recent. Yeah,
that is pretty recent. Well,
that still works.
Mike. I haven't seen him in a while, so shout out to you and your family, Mike. Hope you are doing well during this quarantine. Or is anyone still quarantining? I feel like I'm the only one still quarantining. Like I see so many people go outside and going to parties and everything. And that's fine. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, even though you shouldn't be living it that way. But I am staying inside and trying to, again, flatten the curve as much as possible. But you can just call me a boring introvert if you want to. But I've luckily found a lot of things to keep me entertained, and the money's still coming in while being at home, which is a very good thing for me.
Okay. Oh dear God, I found it. This took me so long. God. I feel so old. All right, so go to YouTube and type in Creezhan. So Creezhan. That's the YouTube handle. And you can check out all of her stuff there. And she's
which
awesome.
Which is just her name, and it took Cord 15 minutes to find that.
No. Plus
welcome
a Z in the middle.
Grandpa.
I there was a small tweak. I didn't.
Why are you wearing a sweater in the summertime? That is. Come on.
Stop. First of all, this is a cardigan, and
okay.
And the heat wave is over. Tory, we have to talk about Batman. Stop getting off topic.
Do you have a blanket over your legs too? Is that what's going on? Are you in a rocking chair right now?
And my cat's on my lap, and I have tea in here. No, that's a lie. I don't have tea. I have straight black coffee. The third cup of the day. I needed a jump start to talk about Batman and DC, everything. Tory, we should probably start talking about it.
We can start talking. I'll leave it to you because you have a lot of things that you like to say about this. I'm excited. We haven't even talked about what our opinions are. So go ahead and why don't you lead the way?
Okay, so over the weekend, the past week, a lot of DC news has been dropping
because of DC fandom,
right? Which is like the convention for DC fans that they held online this year, blah blah blah. So one big news bit was not a trailer but like a hype reel to the new Suicide Squad movie. So for all of that you have not been paying attention, there was a Suicide Squad movie that came out a couple years ago, didn't do very well at the box office, critically destroyed,
right?
Starring Margot Robbie and Will Smith and blah, blah, blah. They are kind of redoing the movie, still with Margot Robbie and a few other stars.
Joel and Viola Davis.
But yet different. It's a different universe. Do we know that, Tory?
No, it's a different. So they're still touching upon what the Suicide Squad did, because Birds of Prey came out and it's following Harley Quinn after Birds of Prey. And I don't think you saw Birds of Prey, did you?
I did not. No.
Okay.
No.
Well, that had like Enchantress, Huntress, and a few other female.
Was that a fun movie? Was that?
It was.
It was.
Yes, it was a fun movie. Obviously, Margot Robbie is is just not something bad to look at. But also, she's a really great actress too. You know what I mean? She's tantalizing. But it was a really fun movie. I liked her arc, and basically, it followed her. The storyline picked up after she broke up with the Joker, and it started off right there, and how everyone in Gotham did not really like her. They kind of hated her, but they couldn't touch her because she was attached to the number one villain in Gotham, the Joker. But as soon as word got out that she and he broke up, it was fair game, and pretty much the bounty on her head was like ridiculously high. So everybody and their mama came hunting for her.
And you're saying the Jared Leto Joker.
Correct, from the Suicide Squad, from
And but
Suicide Squad
so
a few
now
years ago.
and now you're saying this new Suicide Squad is a like a
It's continuing where Birds of Prey left off, where she got together with a bunch of gals and beat the bad people, the bad guys who were hunting her and looking for her. So it's continuing from where that picked left off. And the other two characters, for sure, that I know about that are returning from the original Suicide Squad are Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, who did a great job in the Suicide Squad. And Amanda Waller is the head of Argus, who put together Task Force X, which is the official name of the Suicide Squad. And Joel Kinnaman, and Jay Courtney, who played Boomerang. So we have, I think, 4 original cast members returning.
um
So it's a little weird. We don't know exactly everything that is going to take place in the Suicide Squad, what it's going to touch upon based on the one from a few years ago, and what the new content will be. But we know that there is a hell of a lot of characters and a hell of a lot of actors joining us here for this new Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, all right. So why don't we just I'm so confused. And James Gunn is doing the movie, which is like
Exciting, isn't it?
it's exciting. It's also so messy that I'm like it's going to take a lot for me to really enjoy this movie. I'm not going to see it. I don't think I would see it in theaters, like
Well, I don't think
that's
anyone
where I
can see it in
stand on it.
theaters now.
I don't think anyone could see it in theaters now. Yes, but
Okay, I don't look like
in a
that.
year, in a year from now, or well, whenever, we're not gonna, extrapolate on current, theories. But like, let's
Sure.
pretend it's in theaters and theaters are open. I'm not lining up for this movie because I'm just so confused about its existence.
Well, I feel like this kind of leads into the next topic too about the Batman. I feel like there are a bunch of doubters, which I totally get, and I 100% respect the doubt because DC did not do a great job of forming their universe. And I'm a DC fan, and I will be completely honest about that. However, I feel like we are judging based of the little information that we know, and we are holding our feelings from our previous experiences. Meaning, for instance, the Batman, where everyone's like, "Oh, Robert Pattinson, that guy from Twilight. No, I'm not going to see that. That sounds awful. He's going to be a terrible Batman. Oh, we have a black guy as Commissioner Gordon. That doesn't seem right. Yada yada." And then the teaser drops, and everyone is head over heels about it and says this is the best thing ever. It's going to be better than Christian Bale's Batman, better than the Ben Affleck Batman, yada yada. It's like, so everyone is super critical before knowing more information, and I feel like it might be the same regarding the Suicide Squad, this new Suicide Squad movie, because we only saw a teaser of some of the characters and the actors who were stunt casts in there, like Nathan Fillion, John Cena. Sean Gunn is in it as well.
You said stunt cast earlier, and I don't
Yes.
even know what that means. I think I know
Oh,
what it means, but what does it mean, Tori?
it's a terminology where you have famous actors or well-known people in cast in the movie to attract more fans. So, for instance, John Cena is a perfect example. John Cena is a WWE superstar from decades ago who branched out into the world of acting, just like The Rock, and he's going to bring his fans with him to all John Cena supporters who loved him from the WWE days are going to see this movie. So that's what a stunt cast to just get extra people in the audience tuning in that might not see this movie. Just like what happened to The Rock. The Rock was a WWE superstar. Now he's a global icon as an actor.
Yeah,
Same
okay,
thing with
okay,
like
but
YouTube, like famous YouTubers. They put YouTubers in like indie movies and other movies just to get their following. If they have 1 million or 5 million followers, they would think that a large percentage of those followers would see the movie just
but
because they know those people.
yeah, that math doesn't add up though for a lot of experiments. I
I
guess I
mean,
just don't
but that's
understand what's the difference between stunt casting and then just star washing, as they've said. Like like are these characters gonna be like killed in the first 10 minutes? You know what I mean? Like, are they super minor characters? Is that why?
some
Is
of them
that
are.
what
I mean,
means?
there's like over 20 or 30 characters in the Suicide Squad. I preface the because that's what the new movie's called, as opposed to Suicide Squad from a few years ago. But the
Oh,
Suicide
good,
Squad has
to make it less confusing.
a large a large roster of actors and characters, and we know that a large percentage of them are not going to make it in the movie. So we
I
don't know
see.
who's going to survive. We don't know who's going to die early or later in the movie, or just be there for 2 seconds of screen time.
Yeah. I see. Okay, cool.
But my point is, like, I understand your doubt and your skepticism about it, but we don't know anything. We have just seen like a basic teaser with just literally screenshots of people in costume, the actors and their characters in costume, but we don't know the actual trailer and what the storyline will be. So I definitely understand your reservations about it, but I'm still leaving myself open to the possibility that it could be a good film and steer the DCEU in the right direction where it should have been all along. Just like people who were skeptical about Robert Pattinson as Batman, now they're head over heels after seeing the teaser rather.
Yeah. Yeah, movies with large casts are so hard. Ensemble movies, they can get too spread out too quickly, and you really lose emotional impact by the end of the movie, or by
Hmm.
like the midpoint of the movie.
I,
But
I agree.
yeah, I'm after a few trailers, we'll see. Ask me again if I'm excited.
Sure.
I
And
know you're excited though. That's good.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic, and one of the reasons I'm excited is because we get to see a large amount of these smaller and the minor characters, which are just really fun. They might not be the most diabolical, like the Joker or I don't know Lex Luthor, but the smaller characters are a lot of fun. And they're just silly too. They're not going to, and so this is something that could work for a large ensemble film. Yeah, I like for one of the characters that is going to be in the Suicide Squad is Polka Dot Man. I'm sure you've never heard of him.
I know I have, because one of my son's books talks about all the villains, and I think
Sure.
he's in
Okay.
it. And there's other obscure characters where I'm like, this,
Yeah.
like I know what you're saying. I would just want to add on that the obscure characters, like, they're hidden gems in there. Like, you could really
Absolutely.
do some powerful stories with the guys who you've never heard of, but they have this unique sort of backstory and this sort of plight that you're like, oh, I haven't seen this in a superhero movie, or like,
Hmm.
this is a different take on the Penguin story or whatever. Like,
Exactly.
they're
Exactly.
interesting.
They are. So if you do have an ensemble film with a lot of more obscure but fun characters, that could lead to a delightful experience. So that's why I'm cautiously optimistic.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's heroes like Drax from the MCU that
Hmm.
everyone loves. And if you pitched him by himself, you're like, this, like, I don't want to watch him. This guy
I
sounds
no, I don't.
irritating. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he's he's arguably my favorite character. When he speaks, it's just, I'm always gonna laugh.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So the Suicide Squad will be coming out. What, next year? Do we know?
Who knows in the
Who
next
knows?
couple of years.
Yeah, gosh. Well, we will see. We will see. All right. What else happened this past weekend, Tory? What else do you want to talk about?
Oh man, there's so much, Cord. There's not enough for one podcast. Um, Wonder Woman 1984 came out. Something that there's not a trailer of, but they just announced that I'm a really big fan of is their DC is working on a Static Shock movie that is in
Oh,
development.
right. You sent that
That is
to
in
me. So
development.
who is Static Shock? Why do we care?
Uh, Static Shock is a young African American teenager named Virgil. I believe it's Virgil Hawkins. Don't quote me on that, but it's Virgil. And this character was originally introduced to me on the Saturday morning CW network when I was, kind of the same age, a preteen teenager, and he comes from a inner city. And a bunch of the youth gets contaminated with this gas, this contagion, and they develop superpowers. And he is an urban youth that ends up fighting for his city to make it a better place. And it's, I think, something that is not seen or not highlighted a lot, that we do have people coming from urban societies and urban communities who are trying to make it better. Like a real life AOC, typically, because AOC, Alexandra Octavia Cortez, I believe, the New York representative, she was a young woman from New York City and just wanted to make her community better. And now she is a representative in the state of New York. And I feel like that Static Shot doesn't have a political aspect to him, but I want to highlight the people that have that come from urban backgrounds that want to make their community better. I think that's a fantastic choice, and we need to see more urban superheroes on screen.
For sure. Is that immediately reminds me of Miles Morales. Is he
Sure.
getting his own movie?
Miles Morales is getting his own video game for a Sony PlayStation. When
Okay.
PlayStation 5 drops later on this year, the new Spider-Man will feature Miles Morales as the lead Spider-Man. Also, obviously, they're doing a sequel to not the Amazing Spider-Man. Excuse me. What was the Spider-Man that
Into the
you
Spider-Verse. Into
Into
the
the Spider-Verse?
Spider-Verse.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're definitely doing a sequel to that. But no, not a movie yet. But he's going to be a lead character in the new Spider-Man video game for Sony PlayStation.
Gotcha. Okay, so Static Shock,
Hmm.
what city does he
DC.
live in? No, but is it Gotham or no?
No, no, no. It's I forget the name of it, but it's like an urban city that you've never heard of. Thinking like an
Gotcha.
urban Chicago or Detroit or something like that.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
Man, okay. All right, so Static Shock, that's cool. And then
Hmm.
did you mention what else did you mention here? Wonder Woman trailer, which I didn't
Hmm.
see. Who's not excited about that? There's a lot of
Sure.
hope.
Absolutely. It's a new hope. It's a new hope. Yeah. Come on over. Come on
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. My wife said no.
Tell your wife I said hi.
I will, Tori. Not right now. We're
Like
doing a
now.
podcast.
Do it now.
We're doing a podcast.
Do it now. Hi, Paige.
Do it now.
Do
I have
it.
headphones on, Tori. There's no sound.
No. All right. But anyway, so those are just a couple of things I'm excited about. But I know you, Cord, you are
Oh,
definitely excited. What?
wait,
Do
wait,
you have
wait.
something to say?
Well, and the announcement of Black Adam, right? The
Yes.
official.
Yes. Obviously. I mean, that's been in work. I'm a little, drawn out about it just because they announced that freaking like 6-7 years ago, dude, and it's not like really happened yet. But yes, I think they announced the next Shazam movie too. When Shazam was a really fun movie, I actually really liked it. It was on the lighter side of DC, so it wasn't like super dark. It was sort of campy, but it worked. It worked. And
Yeah.
man, if they can put Black Adam and Shazam and Superman on the same movie, that would be kind of epic. Because we did hear, like, even before this past weekend with fandom, that Henry Cavill is confirmed to return to the role of Superman, which is very exciting. I loved him as Superman. I really did. I didn't want to find a new Superman, so I'm glad that he's going to
Yeah. Can we
reprise as
just
the
talk
role.
about Superman real quick before we
Sure,
dive
absolutely.
into Batman? And by the way, The Rock, the Dwayne Johnson will be playing Black Adam, in
Yes,
case
yes.
you're all wondering. And do we know Black Adam's like superpower? Is he like a Superman-esque character?
Yeah, he's a Superman-esque character with a little bit of magic in there.
Um, Interesting. Okay.
He's
So
he's, he's kind of like the opposite of Shazam, which is again like a Superman character but with magic. He says the word Shazam, and he turns into from the kid Billy Batson into the superhero Shazam.
Okay. Okay. Um, let's talk about Superman real quick. I will not be flying the DC flag on my house until they give me a good Superman story. Like Man of
Because you
Steel was
enjoy
good.
Superman more than Batman, right?
Mm, I guess so. I've read more interesting Superman stories, comics, and I
Mm.
feel like there's a really unique character there that they just haven't gotten like a home run out of yet.
On
And
the big screen.
on the big screen, right?
You're talking about what are you talking about? All Superman movies, even classic ones starring Christopher Reeve, or
No, no,
the more
I'm
newer ones?
modern
Okay,
day.
all right.
I feel like there's a lot going to
Brandon
waste
Routh
there.
to Henry Cavill, etc.
Yeah, like I'm not interested in Suicide. I'm not interested in these. Like I really want, like you know, Superman is just this crazy sort of idea, and we're not getting, like a true Batman versus Superman movie, or like, keep them at ends with each other going forward. Like, I don't know. I just feel like Superman is this amazing. Superman is his own trilogy, if you want. Like, you don't need to start involving you don't need to start building other arc lines, other superheroes into throwing them into the mix yet. Like we really just need a Man of Steel trilogy. Why are you laughing? Why you laugh? You laugh.
Because I mean, you're not wrong, but it seems like you're holding Superman up on a super high pedestal where no one can touch him. Which again,
you just described Superman. That's exactly like his essence.
But the thing is, you can't have that because obviously he would just be too good of a character for he could just wipe again. Yes, he could wipe out the planet if he wanted to, but he has a heart of gold. But the fact that you can combine him with other characters, a la like I'm specifically thinking about like the cartoon Justice League, that was great. It showed everyone and highlighted everyone in their own super hero powers or their super techniques in such a way that no one overshadowed each other. So while I heard you say we don't need to involve other characters with him. I just think that we've seen movies that went about it the wrong way. If there was a very complimentary movie, then sure. But I will agree with you. We haven't seen that in the best way yet.
Yeah,
but I also wouldn't mind a Superman trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know. I know he's an extremely hard character to write for. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there, a lot of video essays that kind of dive into like the fact that he's just like, you can do comics, but like full-fledged stories, especially in movies, he's not a flawed character in any sense really. And he's so powerful that he creates more problems because he can't, like you don't want that kind of character. Like it's amazing that he worked in the comics as long as he did. But I don't know. There's just so many good little story like concepts you could do with him.
Sure.
So I don't know. I love. I was gonna say Brandon Ruth, but Henry Cavill as Superman. Like he's great Superman. I want to.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, absolutely. I would love to see more of him as donning the role of the Curl.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get off the curl and go to the.
By the way, last thing about Batman, related to Batman, we did hear via the Flash in the Flashpoint movie. We've heard of this before, but we did hear that Val Kilmer is returning to the role not just of Bruce Wayne, but also returning.
No, not Val
I'm sorry,
Kilmer.
Geez, Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton. Yes. No. Stop. Michael Keaton is not just returning to the role of Bruce Wayne, but also donning the cape again as Batman, along with dun 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 dun. Who's the other one, Cord? Putting you on the spot. Ben Affleck. Yes.
Yeah. I got confused if you were trying to point out the Flash guy.
Batfleck is also returning to the role again. I think one more time, but I think they will be in the same movie in the Flashpoint. So we're gonna have multiple Batmans, and there's still potential that we can see Thomas Wayne as Batman, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan in this Batman Flashpoint movie as well. I don't think that's been confirmed yet, but we definitely have been confirmed for the older Batman being Michael Keaton, which we've talked about on the show previously, and newly acquired information of Ben Affleck returning to the role of Batman as well.
Yeah, yeah. I really wish that was more exciting. You know what I mean? Yeah, you make that face. You're laughing because you know exactly what I mean.
How I don't how
Because
what tell me
I
how
because like it's exciting that Michael Keaton is reprising his role as Bruce Wayne again. Like that's awesome to pull that move. Um, but in the same movie, you're saying it's like throwing a trick card, you know, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna do another trick card on top of a trick card. I don't
what
know
do you
what
mean
that
in the same
analogy is.
movie? In the same movie of what? As what?
Like you're jumping the shark. Let's say you're jumping the shark by getting I was gonna say Val Kilmer, Michael Keaton back as Batman. Like that's its own movie right there. Just seeing him on screen again. And now you're saying, oh, we're gonna have Ben Affleck come. You're gonna jump the shark again in the same
Okay.
movie. Like we don't need to
Okay.
do that.
But I think you're missing a point here. Do you understand the storyline of Flashpoint?
um, yes, but say you do a 2-second version of a 2-minute version, please, for the layman out there.
Flashpoint is where Barry Allen goes back in time to try to fix something and creates alternate timelines of different superheroes and different supervillains. So in one timeline, instead of Bruce Wayne's parents dying, Bruce actually dies. Thomas Wayne becomes a Batman, a more vengeful, darker version of Batman that uses guns, and Martha actually becomes the Joker. That's one timeline. Essentially he goes back in time, tries to fix something, and accidentally creates new alternate timelines with different characters or different people of the same character. So that's why we can. That's why it's allowed. That's why it's allowed to have multiple Batmen in the same movie, because it's alternate timelines where the Flash is trying to fix something.
I really, really hope that they pull this movie off because it could serve as a
reset for the entire DCEU.
No, I wouldn't call it a reset. I would say a retroactive inciting incident.
Sure.
Because it could
tomato.
explain it. No. It could explain all the messiness that they've thrown up on screen the past 10
actually
years.
Yeah, it's not a reset. It's not a reset.
Or the past 25, the past 30 years, because you could explain all the other Batmans too.
It's reset is not the correct terminology. I like what you said. It's bringing the balance back to zero, bringing scale back to zero.
It's showing us everything. Splinter.
Yeah. Bringing everything back to one certain point, so we can go off from one launching pad into the future. So yes, I agree with you. But that's what's so exciting about that potential, and like I'm very hopeful and very optimistic that it will. And I understand I'm just a fan, and not everyone has the same optimism, the glasses half full type of personality, are regarding these DCEU films. But I can't be a glasses half empty type of guy.
I know. Yeah, I know. And you couldn't if you wanted to. Like that's my role here, is to be cynical about the DCEU.
Sure.
But tomato, as you said earlier. All right, Tory, I'm sick and tired of not talking about the Batman when we said we were going to talk about the Batman. Let's talk about the Batman.
Let's talk about the Batman after you. You're the one who's really excited about this. I feel content about it. I was all along saying, you know what, Robert Pattinson, I don't know, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think many people saw some of his indie films that he did, and he was able to transform like very well as an actor into these other characters. So that's why I was always giving him the benefit of the doubt. And while many people, what did you feel about the casting? I can't remember what you thought, what your initial reaction of Robert Pattinson as Batman. What was your initial reaction when you heard that news?
I liked it. It's so hard to judge, a story by just by the lead actor. You know, like looking back, think of like Toby Maguire being picked as Spider-Man, like good, obviously came out great, but like you just don't know. You just
Hmm.
don't know. But I think we got a lot more information from the tone of the trailer about how this is going to go down. So what did you think, Tori? What did you think?
Ah, man. I so a little bit of backstory too. This is not going to be another origin story. Matt Reeves said we've been there, done that. Don't need to see that again. This is going to be basically there's a storyline of Batman Year One where he's just becoming Batman Year One is almost like Batman Begins. It's somewhat like that, but this storyline is going to be Batman Year Two. I'm not sure if you heard that, Corey. It's going to be
I did
Batman
hear
Year
that. So
Two.
what does that mean? What does that mean?
So Batman has, again, spent a little bit of time, like a year or so, donning the cape, figuring out how to use the gadgets, what the gadgets to use, getting the Batcave, like just again his origin story. But he's still freshly kind of new to the mantle of the Batman, and he's still. This is going to storyline is going to be more about him as the world's greatest detective, primarily. And secondarily as Batman. So it's going to see him solving crimes and playing the mental game, which I think is perfect that we have the Riddler as the main antagonist in this version of Batman, who will test his mental and intellect limits to the max.
Okay. So was it did it jazz you up? Are you excited to see it now?
Oh yeah, man. Absolutely. This feels like the tone that Batman should be, and it's darker and it's grittier, but it doesn't feel forced. Like Batman versus Superman, that Zack Snyder's version was dark and gritty, but it felt forced to me. It felt
Mhm.
like they're trying too hard to. I am the night I'm Batman, and it didn't really feel natural. This, it just feels so easy to Batman being dark, being brutal as well, and that's how he strikes fear into the heart of Gotham City. Again, being that he's still fairly new to himself and to others in the city. But yeah, I love the tone. It didn't seem forced. It felt very natural, and I'm like so excited for it.
Awesome. So I, I need you to recommend maybe like I know DC stands for Detective Comics, but like I have no feeling or thought or visual in my head where Batman is investigating. Like I don't see the fun in that. And I don't like don't get me wrong, I'm really excited for this movie, but like why does why is that a big thing? Like I know he's a detective more or less, but like I just don't see that interesting. Like him, I was a little apprehensive about him walking into that room with all the cops, and it feels like it does feel like it's the first time they're seeing him, but it also feels like he's a little awkward being in that big suit
Hmm.
in the midst of a crime scene, like as a crime as an as they're picking
Investigator,
up pieces. Yeah.
sure.
So like how do you see the detective side going down in this story?
Well, let me address what you said about him walking into that room. First of all, it's yeah, again, it's Batman Year Two, so not everyone is familiar with him. Certainly, not everyone has seen him so far. Some people definitely think that he's still a myth or a legend. So walking to that crowded room full of cops, it was a gruesome crime scene. But the reason he is invited is because I mean, the card has his name on it. It says to
Right.
the Batman.
Right.
So they're pulling him into this crime scene, and we're going to presume that he knows Commissioner Gordon already, and has worked with him in the past at least a little bit, and they are at least see eye to eye, or they have an understanding at least. I believe it's kind of thin ice that he's walking on, because we see later in the trailer I think he's in the precinct. I think that's where the room is, and he's kind of charging, and Commissioner Gordon like kind of grabs him and pushes him up against like either the wall, the bars, or something. But we see that
Mm-hmm.
later on in the trailer. So again, that's kind of thin ice as he's walking on. But I'm pretty sure that the police officers feel like he's just a vigilante and he's trying to do their job for them, and they don't appreciate that. So it's a kind of a look of surprise, a combination of surprise looks, disdain, jealousy amongst those police officers' faces when he's walking into the room. The Riddler left that first card. Also, do you know what the uh, do you, on the card? I believe the Riddler left a note saying, what do liars do when they die?" And then on the right side of the card, there are hieroglyphics. Did you see that or notice that?
I did, and I went down a rabbit hole of figuring out what that means.
Tell us.
It's like the riddle is like, what do liars do after they die? And the answer is they lie still, right?
Yeah, they lie still, which
So,
is
but
great.
yeah, it's great,
But
but it's like, like that's fine. Like,
sure. But so to answer your question, I wanted to preface that about walking to the room with all the looks on their faces. But so to answer your question, so some of Batman's villains are just like Clayface, where you have to figure out how to stop a guy who's just clay, or the Penguin, which you just he's short and you just kick in the face. And yeah, Batman is brutal, but we want to see, because he is a human, we want to see him use other senses or devices to solve crimes. And the Riddler is one of the smartest villains Batman has faced, kind of like Ra's al Ghul as well. And you have to use, like, there are certain times in like the comics and the cartoons where the Riddler traps Batman in essentially an escape room. It's kind of like an escape room meets Saw, where you have to use critical thinking and problem solving skills in order to get out of impending death. So I believe this is a version of Batman where you're going to see him solve crimes that will literally save his own and others' lives as well. And yeah, it's great to see Batman go around and beat up thugs and just like melee people, but we want to see a different side of him, being a detective to solve a crime that literally no one else in the world can solve. Because the Riddler's intellect is so high, only a few people can match his IQ level.
I love it. I love it. Where is that escape room? Is that from a comic, or is that you're saying that's the plot of this movie?
I was just saying. I mean, there have been some in comics and in the cartoons and various cartoons, but again, it's kind of like for everyone in the layman's terms. If you've ever done an escape room where you have to like to solve riddles
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and problem solving, critical thinking, imagine that, but you are actually going to die if you don't get out of that room. And the challenges are at a much higher intellect level and a much higher platform, where you have to like really solve them like very quickly, or else you will get, I don't know, crushed or smothered with like a poisonous gas or whatever it is. You have to, and again, it's the riddles are so difficult to solve that most people will not be able to solve them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So that's
No,
where like world's greatest detective vibe kind of comes into the situation.
I love it. I love it. Kind of reminds me of that Rick and Morty episode where dang, what is it? The team, the superhero intergalactic team. Do you know what I'm talking about? And they and like, gosh, you could take that whole plot of that episode and kind of paste it onto a Batman story, and I would love that.
Sure. But does that answer your question about like the
Yes, yeah, yeah.
detectiveness?
I think the key statement is like Batman is somehow the only person who can solve these riddles,
Yeah.
and that's interesting to me. The escape room idea is interesting to me, because it's you also, yeah, I don't know if you said this, but like I was thinking of like as children. I was like, as a child, I knew I liked Batman. I liked going to see the movies, but like, what were my biggest takeaways from it? And I liked his gadgets. I liked
Sure.
how that was his superpower, like he had this technology, much like Tony Stark, but like this is a much more like sneaky sort of ninja-esque level, that really just helps him out in sticky situations. But
That's so interesting. My takeaway from Batman as a child is honestly his situational awareness. I feel like he just has eyes in the back of his head, and he's calm under pressure. He doesn't get overwhelmed with things. He takes like the hits, he takes the punches, but he does his best not to get punched in the first place. So his scouting, his situational awareness, and his able to critical thinking under stress. Those were my biggest takeaways: his situation awareness and his critical thinking under stress.
I
I
love
always
that.
remember
I
thinking, what would Batman do in this situation?
Oh, that's good. That's great. Yeah, I love a whole plot of a movie just jumped into my head from you saying that. That's so cool. So here's, not to put the cart in front of the horse, but like, I hope this movie does really well. I hope everyone loves Robert Patterson as Bruce Wayne. Um, they introduced Catwoman, the
Hmm.
Penguin, and the Riddler all in this one trailer.
Sure.
Um, do you think those are the villains the next two movies? Because there's probably going to be a trilogy. I did he sign on for a trilogy?
I
Do
don't
we
know.
assume
I
that?
don't. I don't know about that at all. I don't know. Depends what storyline they want to go with. Again, this is kind of early on, but later in the comics, like one of the newest comic books, excuse me, one of the newest comic lines, storylines rather. Batman actually married Selena Kyle.
I love
So
it.
who knows? We could see the relationship kind of spur a little early where they get into a relationship because they've always been like kind of off again, on again, nothing too serious. But we could see I mean, she could be his love interest. Who knows? We've kind of seen that before, but we don't know what exactly the storyline or the arc will be of Selena Kyle. And also, this Selena Kyle is in like year two as well. I think everyone is kind of year two. Maybe not the Riddler because they need someone to match Batman's level. But Selena Kyle is kind of year two as well. She doesn't have a costume yet. She's kind of just doing like just smaller cat burglaries, and I don't think she like has like come into her own yet as well. So I'm excited to see the development of these other characters as well.
Um, and that makes me think. So Matt Reeves kind of saved and then took over the Planet of the Apes franchise, the recent three movies with the Caesar role, and those three movies are definitely chapters. They're
Hmm.
separated by a good chunk of time, and they don't really connect a lot. It's not, there's not in what I'm really want to specify is there's not a big bad guy in all
Hmm.
three movies. There's kind of a villain to each movie. Um, and I would be okay if this trilogy, I'm assuming this is going to be a trilogy. I would be very okay with that same sort of structure. If it was like year two, this movie, and then year five, I don't know how that
Sure,
goes, but
sure,
like
sure.
the next 5 years later, Batman's dealing with so and so. Because I do like, I don't feel like every Superman or every superhero set of movies needs to be, like bing bang boom, like
Right.
right in a row. A little bit of time would be nice to craft some different stories.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I would love again. I would love to see some other villains come into place too. Like I've been saying this for years. I definitely want to see Clayface. I well, like with the technology we have and the visual effects. We like it's past time that we saw Clayface. If they can do freaking Sandman and Spider Man that looked awful, I'm sure like now we can do a Clayface that looked like perfect. Um,
Sure,
I would love
sure.
to see other Robins as well because we've had gosh Dick Grayson for a long time. I would love to see a different Robin. I would love to see a Jason Todd, which that could have its own storyline in own arc, because he could come back as a villain slash anti-hero slash sometimes kind of partner of the Red Hood. I want to see him have, like, maybe in the second movie, have a flirtatious relationship with Talia al Ghul, Raj al Ghul's daughter. And like, if they do go to 4 movies, have Damien, which is the son of Batman, and Talia, which he didn't know about. He was raised in the by Talia in I forget the name of the organization. It's something thieves. But he is like a preteen when he gets introduced to Batman, and Batman has to try to. He's really into like killing people as was it it's not the League of Shadows, something else. I forget, but he has to try to train him to not kill people, but to use his own philosophies of crime, solving crime.
Mhm.
Also really cool, we've never seen before in a film Batman, is the League of Owls. This is going to be a large part of this movie, and we see that in the trailer. There are people with owl masks on. This is going to be a driving storyline of this movie.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice them.
Yes, go back and watch the
Owls?
trailer. It's called the League of Owls, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. God, I mean, there's one character called um is it Azrael? Something like Azrael, and gosh, this is like super duper exciting. I'm sorry, not the League of Owls, the Court of Owls. The Court of Owls is what it's called,
Oh,
and
oh,
they are
now
like
I know what you're talking about. Now I know. Yeah.
yeah, the Court of Owls. And it's a ancient, like a very very old organization in Gotham City, and they have the power of literally running the entire city. Oh God, I'm thinking of so many more things. Like Carmine Falcone, I believe, is going to be in this Batman as well, and he's like just a godfather of the city, like a mafia godfather of the city. So there's so many characters and storylines that are going to be in this, and I don't know. I'm getting goosebumps just talking
Who
about it.
plays Alfred? I forget. We didn't
Uh,
see it in
uh,
the trailer.
I don't think
Oh,
we do, but it's the person who
is it
played the
is
monk,
it Gollum?
the gorilla.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah,
Gollum.
yeah, yeah. What's his
Andy
name?
Serkis. Andy
Andy
Serkis.
Serkis. Andy Serkis is going to be playing Alfred. By the way, Colin Farrell does not look anything like Colin Farrell. I saw this one meme. Do you remember what is he was on actually Gotham, the TV version, and what's the what do you remember the David Spade
Just shoot
sitcom?
me. Just shoot
Just
me. Just
Shoot
shoot me.
Me.
Yeah.
There was like the guy. I don't know. I'll
George Siegel.
post a
George
meme.
Siegel.
Yeah, he looks exactly like George Siegel. And imagine, I saw a meme saying, imagine paying Colin Farrell money just to make him look like George Siegel. We could just hire George Siegel and save
Yeah.
several $1 million.
Yeah. Right. That's funny. Wow.
Yeah,
Um, that's hilarious. Yeah, it's amazing. Colin Farrell doesn't look like. Yeah, that's
anything
bizarre.
like
That's
him. And then
truly
we have
bizarre.
this district attorney. I don't know what his name is. His name is not Harvey Dent, but we have another person in the legal system in this
Yeah.
trailer. And who knows, he could turn into Two-Face eventually
He
if his
looks
name is not.
fascinating. Yeah, like that actor just got a lot of roles because
Hmm.
he can look scary with a stare. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, yeah.
Great trailer though. Great Nirvana song, Something in the Way. Um but yeah, I'm excited. It'll be interesting to see how this I have to be honest, and not to end on a lighter, on a damper of a note, but like I'm getting exhausted from these superhero movies. It's really like, yeah, like the reboots are happening too quickly, and I
Yeah.
like it's hard to, yeah, it's hard to like cleanse the palate of the past meal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do completely understand. It's getting a little monotonous. Like, you're the fun, but I want to see like good content as well, original content, and not just these same old blockbusters. However, on the flip side of that, going back to what we kind of talked about earlier, is maybe this Flashpoint movie will cleanse the palette and we can have a new starting point. I don't know if that's going to mean that we're going to have more launching pads to launch other storylines and other characters, because that might defeat the purpose and make it actually worse for you to have many more Batman movies. Except I hope that we do see an older Val Kilmer and it does launch a new storyline of Batman Begins. But who knows? Who knows where? Like, I don't think we're gonna see a reduction of superhero movies anytime in the near future. Like, Sony is gearing up their own Spider-Verse, their own Spider-Man universe. We have a Venom movie that already came out. We have Carnage that's coming out. There was another Spider-Man villain movie announced that I think Craven was announced. And someone said that they wanted Jason Momoa to play. I think Tom Holland said he would love to see Jason Momoa as Craven. So, I mean, I feel like they're kind of building a Sinister Six storyline. So my point is we're not going to see a reduction of superhero movies anytime soon, but I hope the quality of them definitely increases so we're not just overwhelmed more than we are.
Yeah, that would be nice. Quality over quantity. That's what I say.
Exactly. Or quality and quantity. Who knows? Quality and quantity might not be a bad thing, but definitely the preference of quality
over quantity. Yeah. Tory, my goodness. Here, I'm gonna do this part. If you are looking for us, you can find us on the interwebs at, just tell me when I'm wrong, Tory. Cord and Tory Show on Twitter. Maybe you should just do this because I
you're doing good so far. I encourage you. Keep on.
So at Cord and Tory Show on Instagram and Twitter, right? And then
correct.
The Cord and Tory Podcast Show on Facebook. And
exactly.
You can find us on any podcast app, Stitcher, Overcast. Stitcher? Yeah, iTunes.
Yeah, iTunes. Not SoundCloud, though.
Not SoundCloud, not anymore. And yeah, you can follow us individually on Twitter. I'm Cord Rush on Twitter, and Tory's
Tory _is_TNT.
There we go. And that's our episode 71 for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys.
I love it. Once again, shout out to our fans, Cree, Josh, Cash, no relation to Cord McConnell, Jay,
Mike, Josh.
Nicola, everyone.
Everyone.
Thanks, guys for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you want us to talk about, if you have any suggestions of topics you want us to talk about, feel free to message us on any of the social media platforms Cord just mentioned, and we will go ahead and speak on those subjects.
Yes, do that. That would be great. All right, Tory, until next time, you stay safe, okay?
Likewise, bro.
All right. Bye, dude.
See ya.